lighting basics.
Because I love this class.
I did.
You're unmuted and you're live.
Hello, everybody. So nice to see you again. I had to be very honest with you. This morning, and I come in, I talked to Leslie and the team. I say, I saw today's subject is called the lighting basics. I said, are you sure you guys want to talk about lighting basics? Oh, they say, yes, absolutely. You didn't know how much knowledge or stuff in there. And I'm a kind of puzzled, you know. I say to myself, you know what? All I know is this. Okay.
Alice, what is that?
This is a candle.
A candle?
It's a birthday candle because Nikki here will be her birthday. So I think the best I can do
so
is
if anyone wants to send Nikki a present,
as a present,
they are being accepted.
Okay, you will be accepted. Will be the Nikki's candle. Okay. That's how we started, guys. Remember that? That's like 150, 200 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
All we do is all
Fire.
the lights we have is the candles, okay, right? That's how we started, and obviously today we become so smart. We start with the candles, then we go through the Thomas Edison regular light bulbs, and through that we go through the fluorescent CFLs, then today we end up LED. Okay, now I'm going to give people a little quiz here, see if they still remember those old days. Okay, Leslie.
Okay.
Candles. Okay, what is the Kelvin temperature today? We're using distance knowledge. Is a candle is a warm light, a cool light, or what kind of light is candle?
Oh goodness, it's very warm.
very well. I would
Actually,
say.
it's got a bunch of different colors. So if you look at fire in general, it's got like all of the colors.
Right, but in general, how warm
Because
it
it goes
gets.
from like your 18, and then if you look, that really blue light's actually going to be your 65. So I mean, realistically, you're looking at all the lights when you're looking at fire.
But let's say normal candles
But around
after
18,
right?
and then, yeah.
Candlelight is a very good 18K, right? It's
Yeah.
good. Okay, I just want to go through a couple basic stuff. Okay, I'm an old-fashioned guy, so that's why. Besides the 18K, how do we measure? Is today you guys measure the light output, right? So what's the light output on the one candle here?
1 lumen.
Wow, it's 1 lumen.
One candle is 1 lumen.
1 lumen. Nikki, now this is your first gift you received. Called 1 candle, 1 lumen. Okay. Hey, take a baby step. Yeah, don't be aggressive. Okay. Be happy with 1 candle. Okay.
I'm grateful.
That's how your life started. Okay. Your new life start with 1 candle, 1 lumen. Then every day is getting better, right? So this little candle here, what we talk about is right here, right?
Yep.
Okay, right here is 1 lumen.
Right.
You know, this is so cool. This is how our lights start.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
Think about
Might
it.
not have been birthday candles, but it was probably a candle.
It's a candle start, 1 candle, 1 lumen with 1800K. That's how the whole thing started. But guess what? Okay, this is the beginning. Let's look at today's ending, the LED, right?
Ooh.
But doesn't matter. Okay, but let's
And there's
say
a lot
this.
in between too.
Okay, but lots of in between. It's all involved with only few things.
And all gets back to
All back to number 1,
lumens.
lumens. Lumens relate to the efficiency, right? Because modern
Wattage.
days we have the more efficiency, right? Okay, and obviously relate to the colors.
Yep.
Right.
And
So
how the
based
colors
on
render.
that, it doesn't matter, Leslie, what the 1800K or today's color.
Or
It
65.
doesn't really matter what kind of light devices we're using, or even candle, or go back to the LED. We all have to understand the basics of the lights.
Absolutely. Because
Right.
if you don't know the basics, the beginning, how are you going to get to the ending?
Correct. Am I right?
I think you're right.
I'm kind of surprised. I thought they're pretty smart today, okay? They're able to kind of communicate with me, have to convince me first.
Yeah.
But I think you will enjoy when they go through everything, because this is a knowledge right now. Because that would really help us on our people in the lighting business.
Absolutely.
Or when we're talking to the end users, how we convince them there's a certain terms, certain technology, and some certain verbiage, and a certain standard we use, right?
There's so much.
So much of that.
And that's why, Alice, when I first said, you don't have to worry about a thing, Paul and I've got this, I'm going to play the dummy that doesn't know anything about lighting. Paul's going to be the expert, and you can just do the dancing in the
Okay, so
background.
I'm doing the dancing. I just finished my portion. I'm gonna start from the beginning.
Okay.
It's called 1 lumen and at 1800K.
Super.
So Paul, would you come here?
This is
So-
you, Paul.
so
So
you
let's
guys can-
get your presentation
let's get the
rolling.
presentation
Rolling.
rolling.
Your
Okay.
Let's
I'm a boring guy, right? I start with the 1 room at 1800, right?
Yeah.
You need to get people excited to
Yeah.
today's lighting. How do we jump over here?
How
What
do
we
we get
looking
from the
into?
candle to where we're at today?
Right? What's the technology we engage? How do we
Yeah.
explain that people, make people understand it? Now, let me put this way, okay?
Okay.
Guys, whoever's on the show today, okay? Let me put this way, no mercy today, okay? Challenge them, give them the toughest question. How
Good
about
thing
that?
I'm the dummy today.
Right?
Yeah, feel free to ask questions because, some of this stuff you may know, some of it you may not, but feel free to ask questions and I'll explain it as best I can. Leslie will help me with that because I'm not the best at explaining sometimes, but we'll get that message over to you.
Here we go.
Here we go, lighting basic. So it all starts with light. And as Alice had mentioned, light is fire, candles, all of that. And I think this is just a really very scientific explanation of light.
Yeah, this is what we see as visible light. It's an electromagnetic radiation. Everybody knows from grade school probably where you have a little prism and you can break that light into different colors.
In fact, why don't you move to the next slide that shows that.
There it is.
So white light is actually a combination of all the wavelengths that are in visible light to create that white color.
Yes.
Cool. And that's pretty cool, but go into it more.
So this is a little bit of we're starting to talk about, like, I know white light's color. I can't see the colors in that light. It's just white to me, right? But when it hits something, it hits an object, like let's say this board is reflecting all the colors because it's white. But if I hit some other object, let's say I got this red marker here, you see the red marker, it's only reflecting the red light. So now I see the red. So that's kind of what we're showing here. We have the additive and subtractive colors that kind of can make up different parts of white light.
How do you make black?
If I want to make black, I have to absorb everything.
Ooh.
Everything gets absorbed.
So like my shirt has all of the,
Yes,
everything is, okay.
Very low color content there.
Super.
Okay?
Whoa,
Oh boy.
this is a lot of charts. I can't handle
So
this.
ignore all the math and everything on this.
Woo!
Okay? This is what we're talking about. When we talk about lighting, people will refer to lighting with different terms to relate it back to you. So for instance, when we talk about the color of the light,
Okay.
okay, you'll hear that a lot. People.
So this is what Ellis was talking about when he said 18K, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
Ellis has 18K there.
Right.
So 18K for Ellis. And what he's really talking about is CCT, right?
So what's CCT?
Correlated color index, or sorry, correlated color temperature.
Okay.
I had my CRI in there for a second.
Woo.
It's correlated color temperature. What does that mean? What are we correlating to, right? Because when I say correlated color temperature, it doesn't mean anything to most people.
Yeah.
What they're correlating that color to is if I had what they call a perfect emitter, okay?
What's a perfect emitter?
A perfect emitter, we don't have one, it's theoretical. But the closest thing we have is the sun, okay? The sun is like a perfect emitter.
Okay.
So when the sun emits light, it emits every color of light, every spectrum, every wavelength, like we showed in that previous two slides when we showed the sun, right?
Okay.
So what we do is we relate that back now to the perfect emitter. We call this perfect emitter a black body.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
it's simply-
I've heard of this black
It's
body.
simply a black object that emits radiation,
Okay.
okay? And that black body, when you heat it up, just like when I turned on my stove when I was a kid, I had an electric stove. I would turn that stove on and I'd watch the coils on the stove. They would start heating up.
And get red.
And right, they would start with red,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would slowly change to orange. And there was, as they got hotter, they got different color temperatures, right? They changed color. So so if you look at this chart here, down at 2000K, it's very orange.
So Paul, if I let's take it back to fire. Ready?
Fire's good.
Let's go the other
Fire's
way.
a good analogy.
So if I look at fire,
Mhm.
the hottest part of the fire is blue,
Correct.
but the coolest part of the fire is red, orange,
Right, orange. Yeah,
and there's everything
that's
in
going to
between.
confuse people later on.
Yes, that will. I just thought
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah, so if you think about fire, like Leslie just said, the parts of the fire, you can see different color temperatures in that fire. Those different color temperatures were relating to what we call Kelvin, which is a measurement of temperature.
Sure.
Okay, when I say Fahrenheit or Celsius, everybody's familiar with that. If you're not in lighting, you right away, I know what that is. If I say Kelvin and you're not in lighting, they go, what are you talking about?
I have a friend named Calvin.
Right, well, there you go. He might be named after Lord Kelvin, but
Ooh.
that's a different story. Anyway, Kelvin is a color temperature, or excuse me, a temperature measurement. So in terms of lighting, we talk about thousands of Kelvin because we're relating that Kelvin temperature back to the actual color of the, in this case, fire. Okay?
Okay.
So if we look at our chart here, we have 2000 Kelvin, that's your orange part of the,
Ooh,
we're going to
that's
call this
super
fire
orange.
right here.
Okay.
If that little bar is fire, we have a 2000, 2700, 3000, 3200, 4000, 5000 Kelvin, which is related back to color now.
Oof.
Did I lose everybody on that?
No. Maybe.
Maybe?
Don't
Megan?
know.
Follow me on that?
A little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So as the color temperature goes up, our eyes perceive it as cooler.
Yes. Bluer, right? Closer to that, what they call white hot,
Woo!
right? People may have heard that term before.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that's ever welded or anything like that, they know about that. Okay, but those color temperatures, remember, we're relating temperature now, like how hot am I actually feeling, to a color. So that's your Kelvin, okay? And that's your CCT, correlated color temperature.
So when I look at my light bulb packaging
Mm-hmm.
and I look at it and it says warm white,
Sure.
what am I
So-
looking at?
When you're looking at a warm white product, so that warm white designation is actually from like Energy Star or somebody. Okay, that's a marketing term, warm white. But what they're actually talking about in our terms for TCP, 2700K.
Actually,
Which means if you look at this graph
okay,
here,
Paul, it's actually 30.
sorry, 30K. Warm white?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Soft white.
soft white. So if you look at the chart here, at 3000K, there's a lot of yellow in that light. So that's a warm light. And what we mean by warm is typically for people, when we talk about warm stuff, as far as lighting is concerned, it's an inviting light. So a lot of times you'll hear lighting people talk about warm colors and cool colors, or warm colors or harsh colors. So those harsh colors tend to be the bluer colors that are higher color temperature, that are a little bit harder on the eye. Think of the blue headlights when you're driving.
Oh, I just got those. I love them.
Yeah, I know you do.
So,
Megan, did you understand any of that?
Jared distracted me. Sorry.
You're my test point here.
Nikki, did you get it?
Yes.
Okay. So if I go 18, 22, 24, 27, 30, 3500, 41, 50, and 65, Paul.
I would say you did it wrong because you're going to do it in one breath like Ellis does.
I did.
But beyond that,
Those are all the color temperatures that TCP has to offer. So these are all of the CCTs that are measured in
Right.
Kelvin. So when I'm looking at 18, I'm not actually looking at 18 Kelvin. I'm looking at 1800 Kelvin, 2200 Kelvin, 2400 Kelvin, etc.
right, that's correct.
Okay.
So, and those all relate back to the physical color of that light.
And then it burns at how hot it technically
Like
is.
what it would relate back to if it was on fire.
But visually, it's gonna go from.
Just show people
Ooh,
something.
let's warm. Let's like. I love lighting stuff up.
Here's
Ooh,
a great
this
one
is
to
a
show
perfect
people.
example.
This is a perfect example to show
I
somebody.
love it.
So this
So
is,
what is that, Paul?
this looks like it's about 3,000K to me.
Okay.
Okay, maybe 27, 3,000,
Okay. That's
Okay.
27.
right? So see how nice and warm that is? Very
Ooh.
warm, what we call a warm color.
I'd like to read by
Show
that.
it on the board here. But then,
Oh,
what's that?
magic.
So now I've changed it to 5,000K. So much cooler, more white color now versus my more yellow color.
Okay.
So if we go back to that chart real quick, you see the yellow's at the bottom of that spectrum and the white was at the top. So 5,000K versus, let's say, 3,000 or 27.
That's 27.
27.
Wow. And then what are we using overhead?
Overhead, we have 4,100K, which you probably can't see, but 4,100K.
That's pretty cool.
So hopefully that explains a little bit more on color temperature. I tried not to be very scientific about it.
So what's on the left
Where are you at here?
on your slide?
Oh, we don't want to talk about it.
That's too much math.
Yeah, that's all. That's too much math.
Okay.
We'll just call that math and move on.
Okay. Chromacity.
Okay, so chromaticity now, that is a different thing now, okay? So again, remember we were talking about color
Color.
and how that color correlated color temperature relates to fire, let's
Yep.
say. So this curve that you see here, there's a little black curve, and you see it says it's called the black body curve.
Okay.
Remember we
So
talked
that goes
about,
back to black.
goes back to
having all
that
the
emission,
color.
right?
Yeah.
The black has all the colors.
Yeah.
So as I heat up that black body, which could be a chunk of iron, let's say,
Okay.
that chunk of iron is going to slowly change colors as it gets hotter.
Ah,
Okay.
so that would explain why there's a horseshoe and a steel plant.
Right, back to the correlated color temperature
Okay.
again. Okay, so this is the correlated color temperature curves. So these relate directly to the Kelvin, and you see on there we have the Kelvin related there. 65 I see in there. I don't see the rest of them, but
They're all
60
in there.
they're all in there. As I follow that curve, I change the color of my light all the way down, directly related to the Kelvin. 18 to 65. So
Because
18,
that's a degree of temperature.
right, and 18 is going to be
Can
way
they
down
see
here in this
picture in
orange.
your board at
They
the
can
same
see
time?
everything
Okay, great.
Yeah.
except you.
They can't see you
Who's
right now.
dancing in the background?
So I'm going to stop for a minute and see if anybody has any questions, or if I need to go over something, or if there's maybe I didn't explain it, or I can try to explain it in a different way. For
Or if
people.
anybody has anything to add. I know
Or-
some
or
of you
yes.
might be from lighting and might have something to add.
Maybe explain it a
on
little
this?
better than I did.
Paul's our resident expert, but
Not
That's
great
cool.
at explaining.
sometimes it's cool. We've got this.
Okay.
Let's keep moving.
Okay. So moving on from that Planckian curve there, you see that nice black body curve that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we pick our color temperature. And what happens is this tells you exactly what color that light's going to look like.
Oh.
So at 2700K, I'm in a yellowish, orangish kind of color.
Okay.
And then as I move back up, I can get into that 41K, that 5000K, which are more blue-white light, and that 6500, which is a lot of blue in it.
So again, as it moves up in the temperature, it
Yep.
gets bluer or white hot,
Yep.
as Paul relates it back to that horseshoe.
Right. The
So when you
horseshoe or
first
the-
start
Mhm.
warming up that horseshoe, it's
Yep.
going to be black, and then you put it in the fire, and it goes from 18 to 3, and then it's going to be blue when they start bending and pounding
Right,
on
because
it.
it's going to be really hot then.
Super hot.
And that relates back to the correlated color temperature.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I'm getting it.
All right.
But
Hey guys, give me some credit, okay?
Uh-oh.
Hey,
The credit guys here.
Just give me some credit, right? Because whatever they said is start from my beginning. Remember my
it
beginning?
started from your fire.
Well,
We started
start
with
from
your
my
fire.
Thank you for that. Okay, keep going.
We started with your fire. So, okay, so that's color temperature, correlated color temperature, or CCT.
And we showed a couple of examples,
Yep.
again, with that color flip product that we had that went from 27 to 41,
Right.
just with that switch flip.
Yeah.
But Paul, before we move on, can you take it off the side for a second, Nikki? Let's talk about color temperature, and this is a test for you.
Oh boy.
So that's great. I understand it's a degree, it's how much blue, for the lack of a better term,
Sure.
is found within, or white saturation is found
Mhm.
within that light. But how do I know? Like, how do I know what I want?
How do you know what you want?
How do I know what I want? Like,
Wow.
I don't know anything about lighting, and I go up to the aisle, and I'm in my local,
Yep.
retail store,
Sure.
right?
Mhm.
Where do I go? What do I do? So I'm looking at two different packages, and one says soft white, and one says daylight.
Oh,
And this
yeah.
actually, true story. This happened to me before I was in lighting. So I was in Target, and I needed a new light bulb for my bedroom, and I'm like, I want to get CFL at the time because it was that long ago, and I knew it would save me some money on my electricity bill.
Mhm.
And I'm like, soft white, daylight. Well, I want it to be like the outside. I want to feel like I'm outside.
Like you're outside.
Yeah,
Sure.
so I picked daylight.
Okay.
Then I got it home,
Uh-huh.
screwed it in my table lamp in my
Uh-huh.
bedroom. Hated it.
Probably kept you up all the time.
Did keep me up quite a lot. You want to know why? It was too blue.
Yeah.
And if you know me and I'm looking at lighting, that's one of my favorite things to say. It's too blue. Why is that? Because that goes back to the saturations within that light.
Mhm.
So if I look at soft white, I'm looking at that 27K. That warm white is moving into that 30 to 35K.
Has a lot more red light in it.
Has a lot more red in it, a little bit more saturation. Then I move into my daylights, which are your 41 to 50Ks. And then there's another one above that, which is that 65K, which a lot of people don't use anymore. You find a T8 request for fluorescent T8s here and there, but a lot of people don't like that because it's so
Very, very
intense.
blue. Very blue.
So that's just a good reminder of it's all about visual perception
Uh-huh.
and how your eye perceives it
Yes.
and how it looks in your space.
Mhm.
So in some of our other shows, Ellis and I talked a lot about color temperatures, especially in our application shows where we're talking about restaurants and hotels and making sure that you have the right color for the right space.
Right.
And that's where this gets so important in knowing that basic of how it kind of moves within that scale. Because when you're talking about 18 to 22 to 24, and you've got them all lined up, you might not know what you're seeing, but as you look at them individually with your paint, with your drapery, with your paintings, with your other decor in your room, that's what makes this such a critical part of what we're talking about. And it's so important to understand that piece of it before we move to the next part of it,
Mhm.
because this is like step one.
This
I
sets
know.
your mood.
Right.
This is your how you're going to feel in that space.
But step two is what we're going to flip to now, which
Yeah.
is CRI, or
Right.
Color Rendering Index.
Right.
And this one, I love this. This makes me excited.
Okay.
Ready,
so,
Paul?
CRI.
Woo!
So we told
What are you
you.
showing me here?
Yeah. So let's rewind a little bit. I told you how to pick your color.
Yep, I figured
Okay.
it out.
You got color now.
I got my
You
color.
figured out what color temperature you want.
I think I want a 24K for my bedroom.
Sure. So now that you got your 24K, you probably went to the store. Let's say it's a CFL. You picked up the 2400K CFL. You put it in. You put it in. And
Hey, have some respect for that CFL, okay? Jeez.
Got us all our jobs.
yes,
No.
it's true.
Anyways,
So you put your CFL in, and you notice that your new drapes that you bought at the store just don't look as good as they
didn't
did.
quite have that pop to them. They've got a lot of blues and yellows and oranges in them, and they just don't feel.
They feel kind of washed out, right?
Yeah, they look a little faded. And at first I thought maybe it was the sun.
Right,
Sure.
sure.
Drapes.
Uh-huh.
But then I looked at my throw pillows and everything else in my paintings in my bedroom, and I was like, this just isn't doing it for me.
Right. It's the great color for you, but it's just not quite
right.
Right.
Why
You're
is
missing
that,
something.
Paul?
You're missing something there. So remember, light is composed of different colors. We started that with the slide with the prism.
Right.
So what you have is, even though you have 2400K and there's a lot of red in there, you don't have enough of the other colors to actually get that vibrant, bright light that you want, or bright colors that you want.
Yeah, but what do you mean by that? You have two things. You have object you want to see in the Leslie's bedroom, right? However, what you're talking about is the color of the object in the bedroom versus the color of the lights shining on that object.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, that's correct.
So how that?
Are you telling me the color of the lights, the mix of the color of lights will alternate the color of the objects, how we human perceive?
Yes.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
exactly. So it's
okay.
how we're rendering the colors on the object.
Morgan, you got it?
Megan.
Okay, Megan, you got it. Okay, never mind. I'm a specialize in changing names. Okay.
That's true.
Your name is now Morgan.
You're Morgan now.
Congratulations.
Okay, keep going. You see what I
There
mean,
we
guys?
go.
Yeah.
Because you talk about two different colors.
Yeah.
It's how you see it actually reflected by the lights so shining on it.
Yes, so
Yes.
that reflectance, as Ellis is talking about, that reflectance, remember, absorbs all the light. She's got black on. I've got green on, okay? So I'm reflecting green light. But if I don't have a lot of green light in my light source, I'm not going to look
Your
very
green's going to look kind of
dull.
meh. Instead of green, it's going to be meh.
Right.
So how do they determine that rendering of the light source? What do they use to compare it to, Paul?
So we have what they call the color rendering index, CRI, and this will be in all the packaging out there for the Energy Star stuff.
Yep,
and
this
CRI
is required. Lighting facts label.
is measured on a scale of 1 to 100.
Okay.
Okay. There is nothing that's 100 because the only thing that's 100 is the sun.
Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Always goes
Remember,
back
we
to
talked
sun.
about that.
It's got
Sun
all
emits
the
all the
perceived
colors.
lights. Yep.
Every color.
Okay.
Okay.
I should put the CFL down.
So the closer that you get to 100, the more color you're going to see in the objects from that light source.
So you're close to the sun.
Yes.
Okay, now.
Closer to the sun.
Okay, so
yes.
how do you measure so-called close to the sun? Okay, I mean, what do you mean the 100 from the sun means? What's the composition in that 100, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, difficult to say. It's not a hearsay. You got to have a physical evidence to show it.
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
we can show them that.
And that goes to our values, right, Paul?
Yes, but I don't know that we want to go that deep.
We're not going to go that deep today.
But we can if you
I
want.
love talking about our values.
Okay.
Right.
But I think that's those colors
Yes.
that
So-
R1 through R14.
Yeah.
Those are all the colors that we're measuring on.
Mhm.
And the more of those colors that are closer to 100 when measured,
Right.
the better my light.
Right. So all those R values that Leslie's talking about there.
So let me ask you this,
CRI,
right?
Mhm.
okay? You have to do the R value divided by the sum of all the R values.
Woo, we're getting fancy.
Okay? And then you just keep doing that all the way out. And you
And that
basically
gets you CRI.
get you your CRI. And if you look at those R values on the color card there, those R values have colors associated with them. Okay? So what that is that's showing you how much of that particular color is in the light now, based on measurement. Physical measurement with a spectrometer to determine the wavelength of the light and make sure that everything's there. Yes,
Can we do that?
we can do that.
I want to do that. So Paul, it just so happens.
Just so happens. You just happen to have this laying around. Huh?
Just happen to have this laying around.
Mhm.
And this happens to be two different light sources here. So we have our solistic table lamp, and then we also have a regular table lamp, and we have some stuff under it. Right? Can they see the stuff, Nikki?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's turn the lights out here.
Let's turn the lights out.
You got it?
I got it. So we killed the overhead lights. Turning the lights out. Getting my cell phone, because I happen to have a mobile spectrometer handy. I like to carry one with me on a regular day. And let's do some measurements. What do we want to do first, Paul? Do we want to measure? Or do we want to
This is the typical lamp right here. Okay,
Okay.
so the first thing that I want everybody to know is this is the same color of light. Okay, when we talked about CCT, the correlated color temperature, 41K, both of these. Do they look completely different when they're reflecting objects? Absolutely.
People reflect on your hands.
Yeah, even on my hands. Even on my
Oh,
hands.
wow. Can you see that, Nikki?
Look how bad
Oh,
that
Paul, you're looking good. You got some sun this weekend.
is. I did. Well,
So
on one
you're-
side I did.
So yeah, I mean, if you look at your skin, you can really see that on your left hand, our right hand is kind of blue looking,
Mhm.
whereas your actual right hand,
The other hand.
Your other
yes. This one.
on this black lamp shows a lot more flesh tones. You can
Yeah.
actually see that peach in your skin. And then let's look at the product itself. So we got some bags of snacks because we like to eat here.
So I'm just going to try to prop these up so you guys
So
can
prop
see
up
the
the
different
snacks.
colors here. Okay. So you can kind of see that a little bit.
Okay.
There
And you
we
can
go.
see how, and they're the same snack piles,
Same snack
but you
pile.
can actually see how the red pops a lot more under that black lamp versus the blue lamp. Well, let's find out why that is.
Difference.
So let's get our spectrometer out, right? So this
Yep.
is our mobile spectrometer.
Right.
And then this is my cell phone that it's connected to. And let's take some readings here, okay?
So this is going to look at the actual light and tell us what's it made of.
So let's do the blue lamp first. Let's see if we can get it to focus here.
There we go.
So there you'll see that CRI, so that's what we were talking about, CRI at 87. Now if you notice there's two different CRI values. One's measuring R1 through R8, and the next one's measuring R1 through R15. So that's going a little deeper into those CRIs. Now if I sweep, you'll also see that there's a huge blue peak because these are LEDs within that spectrum, and there's a lot of blue
A lot of blue,
found naturally
not a lot of
in
red.
that. And you know what? I'm going to give it another swipe because that shows
The R value.
our R values. So we were talking about those R1 through R15 and how important it is to have R values that are as close to 100 as possible. And you can see that red's pushed way, way down at 33, that blue's at 57, and then everything else is between 80 and 90.
Is that the R9? I can't tell on your.
Your R9 is 33,
Which is red.
which
Right,
is your
right.
red.
Yeah.
So Paul, let's do another.
Let's try this other lamp. Remember, same lamps here, just different technology.
So this, everyone gets to see my text messages too. This is a CRI, so R1 through R8 at 98. But Paul,
That's a big jump.
R1 through R15,
Yeah.
also 98. How does that happen?
Well, let's swipe over and take a look.
Okay.
There we
Woo!
go.
Look at that spectrum. But we're gonna, again, that blue peak is eliminated and your spectrums are kind of neutralized out, but let's go look at those R values. And here you'll see all of those R values are very consistent within that 90 range. In fact, most of them are between 95 and above. If you look, you'll see your R9 value went from 55 all the way up to 95. That's insane, while maintaining that blue value at 92. That's crazy.
And you can physically see the difference
Physically
just
see
on
the
the
difference.
chips. Hopefully
Let's
this
look at
comes through on the
people.
camera. I hope it
Let's
does.
look at us, Paul.
Sure.
Do you want to be good looking or bad looking today?
Oh, I'll be bad looking.
You want to go bad looking?
Yeah, I'm gonna go bad looking.
So I get to be good looking first?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I should have put on lipstick. Ugh, details. So,
Can't quite get
No,
it
you
right.
see, they're making a fuss of their lights. Can you believe that?
how do I look,
It's
Nikki?
unbelievable.
Beautiful.
How does Paul look?
Nah.
Terrible.
Like a
Yeah.
lens shot, right? He looks like he's
Yeah.
ready for his driver's license, any of that.
Very washed out
Kind
here.
of washed out there. I wish I would have worn a color. Let me hold my bag of Doritos, because I'm going to eat these later.
I'm gonna hold it right
Okay.
too then.
Okay, ready? So then let's switch. Ready? 1, 2, 3, switch!
Oh,
And
wow.
there you'll see, like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
you can
huge,
really-
like,
you
you
see
can
that
really
red
see
change
how
too.
pale I am.
Mm-hmm.
really
pretty
this
good.
pale. I know,
Yeah.
again, I should have put on
Get some
lipstick.
sun, you know?
But then you can actually see the change in our physical bag of Doritos, where they look just a little more washed out.
Mhm.
But the skin, that's what really gets me every
Yeah.
time, is like, because we're both about the
Yeah.
same level of pale.
Yeah.
And looking at that, really, you can see the difference under the different lighting. And again, if I go out into the sun, I look like that, not like this. So again, when I was in my bedroom, screwing in that CFL, and I turned it on, my drapes were actually about like this, where I wanted to be like that. So
Right.
that's why CRI is so important when picking a lighting technology and just understanding it. Because this is a good light, don't knock it. It's not bad, I'd put it in, I'd use it. I'd take that table
It's-
lamp,
Great general all-purpose lamp for just general
it
lighting.
really
you know.
is.
But if you're looking like for a retail application, or you just want things to look nice in your home or your house,
Absolutely,
the
or you want a
Solistic
little
lamp
bit
here is great.
extra,
little
you
bit
really
extra
want
piece.
it with that Solistic technology.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So the higher the CRI, the closer it's gonna render to the colors that you would see in the sun.
The actual color that it should
That's
look
pretty
like.
cool.
I thought I have a challenge for you guys.
Uh-oh, I love a TCP challenge.
Yeah, you compare to a Solistic,
Uh-huh,
okay? Which
Okay.
means Solistic technology today, you push the blue peak down.
push the blue
which
peak
really
down.
give you is a 98 or even 99
Mm-hmm.
close to the sun, right? What if it's not Solistic at a 95?
Well, if you, because it's an average over all the R values, yeah, you could get a high,
You
Okay,
can
so
still
Alice's
get
point,
high,
you can
but
get a
not
high
as
CRI,
good as a Solistic.
but it won't look like this.
Right, I just want to make the
Yes.
difference between
Yeah.
CI 95
Yeah.
and Solistic CI 97 and high. There is a major difference.
Yeah.
Because
we
CI
have to pull
95,
the,
you can using, okay, right,
pull this board out here.
Okay, let's see if we can do it. We got a lot of stuff going on here.
We do. We have to move it around. So,
And
Alice
speaking
brought up
of
this
boards,
point.
look at the reflection real quick. You
Ooh.
can see that huge difference between the two lamps.
right.
Yeah, you can
Exactly.
see the more of the blue.
Okay, can I turn on the regular light?
Yeah, I like working in the dark.
Okay, turn off your cameras over there and go through a little bit because I don't want to confuse people,
Okay,
right?
did we have any questions?
Somebody wants to know what the app is that you are using on your cell phone.
So that only works with my little lighting passport spectrometer that's from Asnetech.
Okay.
You can Google it. Yeah, it's a lighting passport.
Lighting passport.
Google it.
Mhm.
It's fantastic. We use it all the time. It's great for handy handhold measurements.
So now we're moving into what we just showed you, and it had that better color rendering index, that low blue content, and high red content is what we call Solistic. Okay, 97 or higher CRI that we just explained to you.
Because that's the quality of your light.
Right.
So, oh, I like how Ellis pointed out here. He's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Color of light, CCT, we went over that. That's your fire color. CRI is the quality of that light. So it's how the sun shines down on it naturally and how it looks at natural light.
Right. Exactly.
Because sun is considered to be the most natural light. So our Solistic technology, which is better for your brain, is the closest to sunlight.
Yeah. Can you explain a little why that is, Leslie? Because
Why is it
I don't
better?
read all those studies that she does. So.
Why is Solistic better for your brain? Well, because think about it, way back, when Ellis was working by candlelight next to Thomas Edison,
Next to Thomas Edison.
I just lost it. No, he slept a lot better. And why was that? Because he was exposed to what was considered to be the naturalist light source. It allows your eyes to focus better because all of these other distractions that come within other technologies like CFL and LED make your eye have to work harder. So all of that extra work that your eye is doing doesn't allow it to focus on the task at hand. So when working under Solistic technology, you can actually focus better. You get a better quality sleep because your brain and your mind can relax. So your circadian rhythm is more in balance with what it would naturally be if you were a worker that wasn't exposed to any artificial light source and just woke up, went outside, came back in, went to bed. And then it also, because you're not working as hard, actually focusing, like having your eyes focus on the task at hand, you can remember stuff better and you just have a better quality of living. Now, the other really cool thing about Solistic is that they found that over time, being exposed to that type of light source, your eye shape doesn't change. Where people that are only exposed to LED lighting, and animals actually, it was an animal study, not a people study, they found that the shape of their eye changed over time, being exposed only to LED light source. So think about it.
Sounds weird.
It's kind of weird.
So yeah, in other words, answer my question. If somebody challenge me and say, "Oh, Allison, no big deal. We have a light bulb or fixture CI 95. Does that mean they have no blue in it?"
No,
No, not at all.
that's
So-
why those R values are so critically
Very
important, Alice.
You have to have a balanced CRI
Balanced
to get that red ring
R
index. And that's what Alice
Yep.
has created here with the Solistic product.
Because then it has balanced R values, meaning that your red, your green, your blue, all of the colors 1 through 15 are 90 or higher. So that gets your overall average all the way up. And the ones that are most critically important are your red and your blue, because
Yeah.
having those balanced out kind of puts everything else
It
in
gives you a
alignment.
nice even distribution then, because they're at the ends of the spectrum.
Right.
You have blue at this end and red at this end.
Hey,
So if you
look at
get
that.
balanced on these two, chances
The
are
rest
in
of this
between
is
you're gonna be
gonna
good
fall
too. Chances are.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. not-
Wow,
So
this is
Alice
knowledge.
and Paul, we had some more stuff in our presentation. So I know
Yeah.
we spent a lot of time on color.
We
The
did.
other stuff I want to knock out is pretty important still. So let's move on. Anatomy of the
Anatomy of
bulb.
the bulb.
Woo!
And this is very good for people because now that they know about the color that they want, they need to know what kind of bulb they want to buy.
The broken apart one. So if you look at that, you're going to find all kinds of different stuff within this. And we talk about these different components all the time. And I thought I had one here, but I don't. But I'm going to use this par lamp because I love my par lamps. Broken apart. Ah, there Alice has got it.
Alice has it.
So your first thing you want to look at is the base, because you got to have a base, right? And then from there, you got to have your heat sink. So here in this case, you know, we're using some different stuff in there in our body. Now this is glued in there. And then you've got your LED that's in there. You can see that way. And then you've also got your driver and all your other componentry that you can't see in here. But I don't have one that's completely pushed apart. So that kind of goes through some of those different componentry options. And they all basically remain the same. They change as we move through technologies, but at the end of the day, everybody's got all that same stuff. So here in like that filament, you've got your light source here, you've got your base. You then in there, you've got your driver board and all of your ballast technology, all of that, because these are self-ballasted, are you'll find in that
It's actually in the
base
base,
of the
yeah.
product. So that's pretty cool. And CFL, same thing. They all use the same type. The terminology might be ever so slightly different, but again, it goes back to those same things. What did we miss on that, Nikki? Let's see what we've got.
I think you should spend a minute on
Heat
shapes and
sink,
sizes.
optics. Yeah, let's go to the next one. I think that's got that.
Yeah.
That goes into what you were going to talk about, Paul.
Yeah.
Shapes and sizes.
So it's important to know what shape and size you're going to want
Okay.
because it's got to fit in your,
It's got to
your
fit in your lamp.
fixture, you know,
Yeah.
your fixture that you have, your lamp or whatever you may have there. So as you see here, these are all with the American National Standards Institute controlled sizes.
ANSI
ANSI
specification.
specification, okay?
American National
Standards.
Standards.
Yeah. So you see here we have a capsule shape, a deco shape, a flame tip, A shape, globe shape, and these are the actual names of those products, guys. So, you know, R20, R30, those are reflectors, and those are the diameters of the reflectors.
Ooh, I've got
So, so you have all that stuff there that you see. So, for whatever
You know,
reason,
This is an MR. It's really small.
back when all these things were being made, and we were talking about shapes and sizes, the diameter they decided you would divide by 8 for whatever reason, and that would give you the actual diameter in inches of the part product. So for instance, we have the par 20 and the diameter is 2.5 inches because the 20 divided by 8 is 2.5.
But what do you mean when you're talking about diameter, Paul?
So what I'm actually talking about, let's grab one.
I think it's on the next slide too.
Oh, you have it?
Let's take a look. Let's take a look.
Sorry.
Oh, those are bases. Go to the next one. We'll jump back to that. Oh, there we go.
So here, we're talking about, well, I was talking about this diameter, but if we're talking about the diameter of the base, so now we're going to jump to the diameter of the base. The base diameter, so this is what they call an E26 base. E Edison 26 base. So 26 is, what is that? That's,
It's on the previous slide.
no, it's not by 8s though.
Oh, that one's not by eighths. That's
No,
by.
it's millimeters, I
I
think.
think that's on the previous one when we talk about bases.
Okay, can we go back to the
Go to
base
that
one?
base one.
Sorry, there we go. We're a little bit discombobulated here.
Mhm.
So you have the E26 base, which is the standard base everybody's used to. Then we have the E12 and the E17 base, which you may or may not be familiar with. The E12 base is a pretty popular base. That's all your candelabra stuff, all your decorative lamps, little low wattage stuff. The E26 is your everyday household base that everybody uses in their houses. And then the mogul base.
What's this base?
That is a pin-based lamp.
Ooh,
It's
that's pin-based.
GU something. It's not the GU24, it's a GU,
GX.
yeah, GX.
Anyways, I don't have a GU24.
Okay, come on, guys.
Keep going.
All right, so then the mogul base that you
Alice is
see
getting
there
bored.
is actually the larger base type, which is right here, which is a lot of commercial applications. See how big that base is? So that's the E38, 39.
Cool.
Okay, so let's flip back real quick to this lamp shapes. So here's our shapes. Those aren't all the shapes. There's many different shapes out there,
So many shapes.
okay?
There's even some shapes that aren't included
That
on there.
are not
'cause
on there.
aren't an ANSI standard for them, like our Starlight series
Yep.
or our T shape that we just talked about.
Okay, there's our base sizes that you would flip through,
Bulb
And-
sizes.
bulb sizes, and then we bring back to the correlating color temperatures.
Cool.
So that's looks like an Energy Star chart there that's
It
on
is.
all the Energy Star boxes, and it shows you exactly where that color of light lies on that spectrum that we talked about at
And
the
that's
beginning.
And that's adjusted based on what type of light source you're looking at, because Energy Star doesn't recognize colors like 18K.
Right.
And
Okay.
then what do we got from there? Oh, it goes back to Ellis
Back to Ellis,
and Lumens.
all the way back to the candle.
Ellis, you were last slide on my presentation.
Lumens, guys, the lumens. We start with the one single candle light and
Mhm.
one single lumens,
Mhm.
right? So right now, as you understand, that's one lumens.
Yeah.
So right now, 860 watt 819 bulbs, which we're using every single day, that's 800 lumens.
Okay.
Again, go back to the candle as one lumen.
Yeah.
You have a 60 watt, back to Thomas Edison's, you have a
But
basically
how
of
far
800
away,
candles.
when you're looking at that 1 lumen equals 1 candle, how far away are you?
Far, I think it's like 1
1
meter.
foot.
1 foot. So it's 1 foot,
1
okay?
foot.
So you can imagine when we say 60 watt equivalent,
Mhm.
it's 800 lumens, that equivalent to 800 at 1 foot of the
Birthday
800
candles on a
birthday
cake.
candles on a
Can
cake.
we get a birthday cake that has 800 candles on it?
Sure, absolutely.
For Nikki?
That's only
Excellent.
for
Nikki, what, happy
Nikki,
18,
okay?
800.
So that's what we
Pretty
do
much
right now,
30
okay?
the
So
same.
it's very simple. So
30.
based on that, then you like look at a fixture, this and that. I want to just throw something else in.
Oh, geez,
Oh, boy.
unscripted.
Okay. 8 light bulbs, because the light
Yeah.
bulbs we put into in our house, this
Mhm.
and that.
Mhm.
So light bulbs actually measure by the lumens. It's very
Yes.
common, right?
Mhm.
60 watt, 100 watt is a 1600 lumens,
Yep.
right? So on, so forth, okay? However, okay, in our commercial lighting
Mhm.
business,
Mhm.
we do not really measure by lumens.
It depends.
Because it depends, but most time when we do the projects out there, we literally measure how much lights we able to use. We call usable lights, or let's say you sit at front of your desk, how much lights you need for you to facilitating your work. For
Yeah.
instance, you're having meeting, you write your notes, or Jerry is doing the drawing for our next fixtures, right?
Mhm.
With
He's
all
using
those
both
things-
hands.
Right, but at that time, do you look at your panels downlights by lumens?
Well, you look at lumens because a lot of people, that's how they measure things.
Okay,
the
but
one thing
in
you wanna look
reality,
at is
when we do
foot candles.
projects,
You want to look at foot candles.
we look at foot candles,
Mhm.
which we call lux. So Paul, do you have another way to explain to people difference between the lumens and the lux and the foot candles?
Lumens,
Paul's
lux,
got a
and foot
measuring
candles.
tool out.
So lumens, lux, and foot candles.
Yes,
So lumens is the amount of light that that lamp is putting out.
Or
Okay, if I captured all the light coming out of that lamp, that's how much there is.
Mhm.
okay.
Okay,
That means it's a 360 degree.
360
Normally,
degrees.
we're using this.
Grabbing it all.
Right, usually we'll put it into a light sphere.
Okay.
That's what we call,
Like
right?
we've
Yep.
got over there.
Yep,
Okay, so that's called the lumens, right?
that's the lumens.
Okay, now, I'm working right now. We
Yep.
have a little meeting here,
Yep,
okay?
We're doing a show.
We're doing
Yeah.
a show, I have my notes here, okay?
Uh-huh.
When I look at my notes, how do you measure how much lights I got on my notes?
and that's what we call the foot candles or the lux. How much light is actually hitting that surface that Ellis can use.
Can we measure this, Leslie? Do a measurement.
We can actually with my little tool. Hold on, let me
Okay.
fire it back up.
Okay, you see what I mean?
Yes.
Okay, so let's say what's the NT standard for the office
I gotta
lighting?
reconnect it.
It's probably around 30-foot candles, 20 to 30-foot candles, depending on where you're at.
No. Guys, let's assume we have a meeting here, okay? In a meeting room, 3 feet high because you need a table, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
At the table, at this level, what's the minimum foot candles you have to have?
20.
Here we go.
What I said? 20 to 30?
No, I thought you said 35.
No,
So
you
20 to
said
30.
It's a flu shot.
Sorry
Flu shot
about
got
that.
you.
It's still a little bit early for me, okay? Oh, by the way, I just had this shot, the flu shot, okay? The
That's
shoot
the
rate.
Get into your
Okay,
head.
so
So we're going back to our
what we're
section.
doing is, we go back to this guy again, okay?
This is a really
Paul,
cool.
Yeah.
is that what we do?
Yeah, that's
Right.
exactly what you
I'm
do.
doing the
Alex.
measurement.
That's exactly
Here
what we
we
do
go.
now, okay?
And you'll
Because,
see that CRI is still at 83, but as I scroll on down, you'll see this foot candle measurement, and you'll see that where they're at, it's actually looking at 42 foot candles.
So we got plenty of foot candles
So we've
here.
got
Plenty of foot
more than enough. And then if you look above it, you'll see Lumens, and that's measured in lux,
yeah,
and that's 454. Because remember, it's roughly 10
Right.
lux to 1 foot
Correct.
candle.
That's correct.
you see, that means we got too much lights here.
Not really, because we're in the studio and we wanted more light.
Yeah, but in a normal
But if it's a
situation,
normal
I have
office,
20 to
yeah,
30.
yeah.
That's what we do. So remember this, okay?
Mhm.
We're talking about is the lumens is measured overall, then this we measure by lux. But normally in a common language we do is called a foot candles.
Yeah.
Foot candles using lux divided by 10.
Well, lux
Okay.
is more of a European measurement.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
like a
metric.
metric.
Lux is
So
metric.
I just want to make sure, okay? I think that will complete the whole thing. So that being
Circle
said,
of lighting life.
yeah, I like to give something away today.
You want to give something
he's giving stuff
away?
away
I want to
again.
give away 2 different products.
Okay.
I want to give you the highest of a
highest of highs.
CI. I also want to give the CCT.
Ooh.
What's the variation on TCT? So
Okay.
that being said, I would like to give away 10 of our Celestic light bulbs.
10
I think
Celestic
we have
light
in
bulbs.
stock.
We have some starlights, yeah.
Wow, that
Okay?
would be great.
So any of you have the questions, reach this and that. We have Celestic light bulbs
So I
to
guess
give
if you
away.
ask a question right now, the first 10 people that ask a question will get a Celestic Star Lamp.
Right.
So ask away.
Okay, keep going.
We had 1 question, so we'll knock
Right.
it down to 9.
That's not it. You would really enjoy the Celestic. Okay. The second one is we're talking about the 9 colors. Remember, Paul and Leslie talked about 9 colors.
She couldn't do it in one breath.
Okay,
I
so
tried.
so we actually Leslie releasing a brand new concept that's from her living room.
From my living room,
Okay.
living room concepts.
Living room
Oh.
concepts. Okay, living room
that
concepts
sound
is
Fascinating.
you see there's 2 different concepts out there right now. So would you hold that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's selectable color, meaning that you can select it on the back of the product itself.
Right?
However, once I put that in my ceiling, I can't do a darn thing with it. So the
You're
other
stuck
one,
with it. Selectable is you're stuck with it. Okay?
uh-huh.
So you have another concept. Can you show people your homemade video? Try.
We don't have it pulled up, but let me walk over
Okay,
there and
but
get it
let me
going.
show you what we have. I want to give
We
you,
already showed him that
right?
while you were away.
Oh, you already showed them that? So actually, the engineering samples are coming next week. I want to give them away. You will really enjoy it. I tell you guys,
There it is.
if you look at it here, okay?
My
Okay.
movie's better.
Okay, now, this is Leslie's living room
That's my dining room,
or dining room,
all
okay?
decorated for Halloween,
Right? You see? 2 different colors.
and it's at 50% dim.
Right. So you can dim on each level. That's a flip between 4100K and 2700K.
So dimmable plus you can change color. That's
Right.
pretty cool.
Is that cool?
Very
I want
cool,
to give
bro.
away 10 of those too. So
Cool.
10 of the Celestic, 10 of the,
So we got a bunch
Color
of
flip.
questions. The first one is, do the star lamps come in a higher wattage than 2.5? Well, I believe the wattage on those are 20. So yes.
yeah,
they do
we're
come
able to
in,
punch out a
large
3,000
variety.
lumens. Highest wattage will punch out 3,000 lumens.
What
Right.
is the CRI on the bulb? I'm not sure what bulb you're talking about, but
If it's a Celestic bulb, CI is 97 and high.
Mhm. And
Oh.
then regular LEDs are about 87. CFLs are higher than 80.
Right.
And we have some other product that's CRI 95. What is the color and watt?
Right now, we kind of bypassed the 95 non-sadistic. We jump from 80 all the way
Not sure I
to
understand.
97 and a half.
But
What are the two colors in the color flip?
Oh, the
Oh,
two
the
colors,
color flip?
27 and 41, and it's
Yeah.
a 60 watt equivalent being 9 watts.
Okay, because the reason we pick 41 and 27 is 41 is office. Remember, we talked about there's more people work from their home. So we were 41 give them the working
Yeah, it's a really cool
setting.
concept.
Really cool concept. When you finish the working, you turn off, turn on back again, boom, go
Nice
back
warm
to
feeling
27.
again.
Warm feeling again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is a very new, different concept because your color selectable, you stuck whatever you selected.
Yeah.
But a color flip, you flip it.
Change it over.
You can go nuts at home. Do enough. Okay.
Oh, so someone said if you set on a color selectable, once you put it in the ceiling, you can go back up there and change it. It's
Sure.
just a giant pain in the tuchus.
Oh, yeah, you have
Get
to.
the
it is.
lift. And
Gotta
do
get the
everything.
ladder, the
So you
lift,
have
or
to do all
whatever.
that. So if you just wanted to change it for that day, you
Yeah.
have to get the lift and do it. Whereas Ellis's, that he's giving me a seizure on, actually does it just with the flip of the switch. So you don't have to go through and then manually change the wattage or the color selection. So
Correct. Okay.
cool.
Sounds really good. So enjoy engaging with us. I want to give away 10 light bulbs each.
Yeah, we gave
So
away a
let
bunch.
Nikki know. And
Any other questions?
any
Reach
other
out.
questions?
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. I hope it's very educational. If you guys have more comments, just please reach out to us. Asking questions, we'll get back to you by email or text message. Right, Paul?
Absolutely, we'll get back to you.
And that being said, we will see you tomorrow.